If you find it super confusing with all the different video generation AI tools, then you're not alone, and this video is for you. What I'm going to show you how to do is build an automation using N8N, which you can see on the screen. What I did was create the automation to test two different video models. One is SORA 2 and the other is Google's VEO 3 to make user-generated content like this.
Hey everyone, I just have to talk about my secret weapon for feeling amazing. This bone broth is packed with collagen, great for my...
Hi there, this is the bone broth I've been starting my mornings with lately. I just give it a little swirl, look at that gorgeous color, twist the lid off, and you can see how rich and velvety.
All right, listen up. My secret weapon for surviving all the AI automation learning, these caffeine pills let me push through with barely any sleep.
Hey, so I've actually been using these caffeine pills instead of coffee lately. Honestly, it just keeps me focused way longer and no crash. Yeah.
So by the end of this video, you'll be able to create any user-generated content with different characters that you like, and you can test the quality between SORA and VEO 3. So I'm going to give you this automation right below the video. No opt-in, just click the link. All you have to do is get an account at N8N. So you can get a free account at N8N. The link's below the video as well. Once you've set up your account, N8N, if you're new here, is an automation platform that allows you to build automations where you can click modules together, kind of like building Lego. It's not super difficult because I'm going to give it to you anyway, but it's good to learn how to do these things so you can adapt it for your own style and tweak things. So on the screen is the N8N canvas where you start a new project. So when you jump in here, what you do if you're going to rebuild this yourself is the first thing you need to do is figure out how to get information into the automation. So the way we're going to do that is there's going to be a trigger module here which begins the automation. So the first thing you need to do is just click the plus button at the top right, and then you just click manual like that, and you're looking for manual trigger. Click that, drop the manual trigger on, step one finished. Next thing we need to do is interact with a Google Sheet. So you need a Google account. In order to get this Google module onto the timeline, same thing again, go over to the right, and then we're going to go over and add in a Google Sheet here. So go Google Sheets like this, and then we're going to use the module which is Read Sheet. So you're going to read sheet. So choose the Read Sheet module at the bottom. I just got to look away to my other camera. Sorry, I just had to look around. It's actually called Get Rows. My other laptop screen is covering my second monitor because I must have moved it by accident. Okay, so once you have this in, what you have to do is connect your Google Sheets account to your N8N account. Now, I'm not going to go through that in this video, but the best way to do it, I'll just open it up, is to actually get one of the AIs to just walk you through it. So all you have to do is up here, you have to connect your credentials to your Google account. So as you can see in here, once I've connected my credentials, I can actually pull from the Google Sheet. I'll show you the Google Sheet in a second so you know what the heck I'm talking about here. But what you have to do is you have to add your credentials at the top. So here is where you have to add in your credentials. So you need to go to your Google Cloud Console and you get your client ID and your client secret. And then you also have this OAuth redirect URL that N8N gives you here at the top. You need to give that to Google. So this is like creating a simple bridge. Now, if you've never done anything like this before, it can be a little bit of a learning curve, but it's actually the best way to do it, I've found by far, is get into your Google account. As soon as you've logged into your Google Cloud account, you just take screenshots and ask an AI like ChatGPT, walk me through exactly what I need to do. And the AI's vision will be able to tell you, click this button, paste this in there, and it will walk you through the whole thing. It's really the best way to do it. Or just watch a YouTube video, but that's a bit slower. But once you've done this, you then got a bridge between N8N and your Google Sheets account. So that's important. You need to get that step done. Now we can pull in data from our Google Sheet account. So what I did here, if I go over to Google, I just set up a new Google account here. This is how I've got it set up. Excuse me. So we just need to actually fill in the rows at the top here. So the columns rather. So just take a screenshot of how I've done it so I don't have to read through it all. But basically, the first one's a status column. We just want to have three different statuses here. These could be a drop-down menu if you want to. But you really just need to know when it's complete or when you want it to run. So if you want it to run, you want to have run. Now, you could just get more fancy and just have you could actually do a drop-down menu and go right-click add a drop down like this, and then you can add different options, just edit them on the side and then do it that way. For the sake of time and simplicity, I'm not going to do it. But you can play around with this and make it more complex, but you just need to make sure there's different status fields so that we know when we've done something and when we haven't. Then we're going to have a product column. In this example, I'm going to do bone broth and caffeine pills, as you saw in the videos earlier. And then we just want to give some information that we can pass through. So when we're creating these videos, the AI generators have some information about what we want to say in the video. So I've got some of the USPs, which is the unique selling points of these or proposition of these. So supports gut health or energy and stamina for caffeine pills. This is up to you and depending on the product. Then the setting, you might want to describe the scene that they're sitting in to do it. It might be in a car, it might be in their office, it might be in a kitchen. And then you want to then it's a simple prompt here about what you want to happen. And this will make more sense when we pull this through. So just hang on till we get there. This is the dimensions of the video. 16 by 10 is not a dimension, so that's a mistake there. So I'll just change that. This depends on if you want to have more of a iPhone shot or a selfie or just a video like a YouTube screen one. So this can be changed. And I'm going to show you how to play around with this when we look at the tools that we're going to use to run this automation in a minute. So a lot of this will make sense. I'm just giving you a quick overview so you understand. So here, the URL, what I'm going to do here is actually put the product shot here. And you'll notice that sometimes the product shot, this one I just grabbed one off the internet, which is actually a bone broth bottle, a jar. And then in these other ones here, you'll notice I won't open it, but you'll see in a moment that it's actually got the person holding the bottle already. So the reason for that is, and this is where it can get confusing with all these video models, it's really, I find it really difficult to keep up with it all. So what happens is SORA at the moment does not let you upload a person, a realistic figure of a person to their video generation tool. They want to do that. Right? Because they're worried that you're going to upload somebody like Barack Obama or somebody holding your product, right? So they don't want you to be messing around with that. They don't want any trouble. So they want to create the person. So even if you created an AI character that's not a real person, they still don't let you. Whereas Google will allow you to do that. So you can actually go and pre-create the picture of a person holding the bottle and then use that image as your starting point for the video creation. And you get better results. I'll just say it now, VEO3 at the moment is giving me better results than what SORA is. So SORA, you have to give them the product and then they'll create the person holding the product for you. So that's the difference here. And that's why it can get really confusing because they've got all these different rules for different video models. But anyway, hopefully that's helpful. So here you just want to put what model you're actually using and you'll see why when we get to the N8N canvas, why that's important. And finally, there's the file that they'll give you. These are all the videos that you saw at the beginning of this YouTube video of the output. So you just need to get this set up like this and that's all you need to do. And then we're done with the Google Sheet. So get this set up and then we'll go back to the canvas now. And you can see in here, it's just pulling in sheet 3 because that's the sheet we were just looking at. And then it's from this document here, which is, I just call it talking head. And then I've got a column filter down below. I'm going filter by status run. So the reason I'm doing that is I only want to pull in the ones that I haven't completed yet, right? So that's why we set up that column for status. And that's all you need to do on the sheet there. Done. Let's move on. So here, we want to just do a filter module, which is a switch module. So we're saying if it's a SORA video, we're going to go up this path. If it's a VEO3, we're going to go down this path. Super easy to do. Go to the side, click on switch like that, and then you drag it on, open it up. Then you're just putting a filter and you're saying JSON.model, which is coming from your sheet. If you see the model there, all you do is drag that into there like that. You click and drag, make sure it's set to expression, and then you just drag that in there and you go is equal to, and then type in SORA or the other one, VEO3. And these below here is just your output label so you can see it on the canvas more easily. So you're just saying if it's SORA or VEO3, and that's just pulling straight through from your canvas. Because you remember, if I quickly flick back, it's just filtering on this row here. Okay, so we're good now. Now we can go up this path or this path. Okay, so if we go up the SORA path here, we can't create the image first. Down below here, on the VEO3, what I'm actually doing here is getting the image created first of somebody holding my product. So that these ones here, that is an image generating model for Google. It's Google Nano Banana that I'm doing first. And you get a really good high quality image of the person holding your jar. So if I won't look at it now because I haven't got the run completed, but basically this is all this is doing. It's pulling it down here, getting an image generated of the person holding it, and then passing that image to the video generation. That's all this, why this is an extra leg. But as I mentioned earlier, SORA doesn't let you do that at the moment. So what we're going to do up here is we're going to route up here to this LLM module. So to get this module onto your canvas, just go up to the top and just go basic. They call it a basic LLM chain. You just click that one, whack it on. In order for these modules to work, you need to give it a brain. So you need to add one of these brains on here. So this is just adding on. If I just take it off for a second, you just click the plus and you add on the AI module that you want to use as your brain. So to keep it simple, just add on an OpenAI module here. So in order to do that step, you need an account at OpenAI. So if I click and open it, it's the same thing again that we do with Google. You have to go and get your credentials at OpenAI. So if I click on the plus button here, you can see here it's asking for my API key. So I've got that, obviously not going to show it on the screen, but in order to get an API key, you need to go to OpenAI, set up an account at OpenAI, and then get your API key. It's not a difficult thing to do. Again, if you haven't done this before, it might be a little bit confusing for you. I understand that. But all you got to do, get an account, log in. If you're stuck, you always just take a screenshot, throw it into ChatGPT and say, tell me what to do. I don't know where to go. What's an API key? Where do I get it? And it will walk you through. It'll point and say, go there, click that button, get this. You need your API key. Once you're connected, you're good to go. Then you just choose the model from a drop-down list that you want to use to run it. So for this, GPT 4.1 will be perfectly fine. And what we're actually doing here is, let's look inside. This is just super basic because I did this quite quickly. But all I'm giving it in here is, I'm giving it the product, what it is. I'm saying this one's caffeine pills is what the last run that I did. And I'm giving it the avatar, which is a young male in his 20s. So this is just pulled from the sheet. If you remember, the sheet had these things here. On the sheet, I actually called it the target ICP, but you can just call that avatar. That's fine. Doesn't really matter what the heck you call it, as long as you know what it's doing. It's just describing the character, the target audience. So that's pulling that through, and the product description is pulling that through. So it's got some context of what it's trying to do. So that's what I'm whacking into the user prompt up there. And I just drag those, by the way. So the product, I just look for where it pulled that through from the sheet, drag, drop, avatar, which I called ICP down here, drag, drop. Pretty easy. Okay, so then in here, whoops, I just turned on something I didn't want to, one sec. Okay, if I go down in the system prompt below, what I'm doing in here is getting the AI to create a prompt for the SORA generation. So here I need it to describe the character, the setting, tell it that I've already given it the product and the avatar and its user inputs, and get it to bundle up basically one prompt that I'm going to then give to the SORA generation model. So that SORA video generator has got everything that it needs to be able to create this. Okay, so you can just, I just did this quite quickly here because I'm practicing stuff all the time myself. You could probably do better than me here, by the way. And a little trick, if you want to get really good at it, is go to SORA, go to OpenAI's page where they have their description about SORA. I won't do it now. And they'll actually give you some prompting guides on how to prompt their tool. That's a good thing to do. And I think I actually did do that here. I can't remember because I played around with it a few times. But don't think that this is like the most perfect prompt. It's okay, but you can probably do better. And the whole point is I'm just teaching you how to fish rather than give you a fish. So you want to play around with this until you get it the way that you want it for whatever you're doing, right? But here we go anyway. So you give it this to prompt. You can have a read of it. And then it's going to spit out a prompt out here. You can see here, this prompt is what it gives you. A young man in his 20s in a cluttered desk, sunlight office, laptop, coffee, talking about energy pills and caffeine pills rather. So that's what it's doing. That prompt now we need to send to the video generator. Now you can just use SORA's got, if you go to OpenAI, they have a built-in module here. It was really playing up for me though when I did this video, so I didn't actually use it. But if you go down, I'm just going to move my laptop because I still got it in the way. If you go down to video generation, you can actually just choose the SORA models from here. So there you can see, if I just chose video generator or generate a video, see the SORA models are in here. You can actually just drop these modules straight in. So you could just use the SORA model like that, which will be easier for you than having to use an HTTP module. But some of you will be very familiar with HTTP modules and will find that super easy. If you're not, you could, in theory, just go like that and go straight into the SORA model that way. It'll work. It was just bugging out on me. It was timing out. I don't know if they were overloaded or something. It was just causing me a real pain. So I didn't use it in the end because I don't have to, because I'm used to using these HTTP modules. But they're achieving the same thing, right? So it's up to you what you want to do, but you can just do that model and it will send it straight in there, create your video, and then you're done. It's really that simple. And then you can, you want to add it back to your Google Sheet, but that's an option if it's easier for you. So the traditional way to do things if N8N hasn't created a module like this natively inside N8N is just to use these HTTP modules. And to be honest with you, most of the time I just use them anyway, because you usually get a bit more flexibility on the parameters that you can play with when you're using an HTTP. But what we're doing in an HTTP, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's just one of these modules here, HTTP request. You whack it on. We're then just sending information to OpenAI to a particular endpoint in their API that's saying, use this SORA model, SORA 2, to create a video for me, and here's all the information you need to do it. That's all we're doing. So in order to do this, whack it open like this, and here, what we're doing though, sorry, I jumped ahead, was we're not actually going directly to OpenAI with this module. I need to clarify that. There's aggregator companies. One of them is called KeyAI, which is KIE. Some of you will probably be aware of them. They will make it easier for you to connect to all these video and image generating modules. So you can go through them, and the bizarre thing is with them, they're actually cheaper than going directly, which is kind of hard to get your head around. I don't know how they do it. They must get special deals. But if you use one of these aggregators and go to them and get them to go to the video generating module, like company rather, like OpenAI or Google for you, they'll take care of it and send it back. So you can go direct, or you can go via these aggregators, and they're cheaper. So it's kind of strange, but it is what it is. So you need an account at kie.ai in order to run this HTTP module, which I'm going to show you how to do in a second. But just before I move away from this screen, all we're doing here is we set this method to post. We use this URL, which you're going to have anyway, because you're going to get this template for free. And then the credential type, we want to set to header auth. And then we need to set up our credentials with KeyAI. Again, click on the pencil to show you. You need to type in this box here, authorization. And then in here in the value, you need to set up your API key. And KeyAI will, again, like anything, give you the API key. And then you come back in here. And every one of these is usually a little bit different. Some of them will have the word bearer with a capital B in front, like capital B, EARER space, and then your API key. So in order to know what it is, and then once you get that, you save it, you just go to KeyAI. So let's go to KeyAI. This is where I was playing around here. And then you just go up to, it'll be probably in settings. I'll just pause the video while I find it and to save you having to wait. Okay, yep, I just had to click on my profile on the top right, and then I go to Market. They have a link called Market. And then on the left, you can see it says API key. So that's where you get your API key. So you can see in here, you just go create new API key, which I'm going to create, and you're going to name it, and then you go create. And that's how you get it. And they'll tell you how to set it up on the next page. I'm not going to do that, but that's how you get your API key, okay, when you're in KeyAI. So we just hop back out of here. If we actually want to use the different models, you can see you can go to on their homepage, or their market page rather. You can go to the providers. So if we're going to use OpenAI's SORA here, we go to OpenAI, then we can choose here SORA Pro, which is a bit more expensive. We're just going to use SORA 2 down here. So we can just click SORA. Once we're in here, they're going to tell you how to connect to them from the HTTP. So we scroll down here. You can play around with it in here just to make videos if you want. You'll need a little bit of credit on your account to use it. The good thing about these aggregators is you can just put like $5 on and play around with it. You don't have to put like a monthly subscription. But in here, you want to go to the JSON here, and it will show you how to send this information. So we're going to need this. But if you go up the top above Playground, there's API, next to Playground rather, API. API is where they tell you how to connect everything. KeyAI's I find is a little bit confusing the way that they set it up. It's kind of annoying. Other ones do a lot better job than them, but anyway, it doesn't matter. If you scroll down, you'll see an example here at the bottom, a request example. This is all you really need. That URL you need, remember we said we're going to set it up to post? Grab that URL. That's the first thing you need. So head back now to N8N, and that is what we post in there, right? You just post that straight in there, set it to post, put it in there. You got your API stuff. So all of that's now done. All we got to do now is send this JSON. So you go down here and you send body on, JSON, using JSON below. And then in here is what we need to set up from Key AI. So we'll go back to Key AI where we were. Sorry to jump around on you guys. And then go down here where it says D. And after that little opening dash there, or what do you even call that symbol? I can't remember the name of it. Apostrophe or something. Just copy everything like that in between. Just go copy like that. Go back to N8N. And you just paste that in like that. And then you've just got to map some fields in like the prompt and the image URL and whatever aspect ratio you want. I've just got it set to landscape, and that's all you need. Some of these other fields, by the way, you don't need them. Like you don't need a callback URL. You can just delete that row out. It doesn't really matter. You don't need it. I think that's all. So once you got this set up, all you got to do then is drag in your prompt. Okay, so where is the prompt? There, it's this output from the LLM that we just created. So drag it in there like this, the prompt into there. Okay, and then the image URL is coming from our Google Sheet, which is the original URL of the product that I got. I drag it in from my Google Sheet. Okay, so that's all you need to do, and then that's it. And then you just click go, fire, execute step, and then what's going to happen is the SORA model via Key AI, routed via Key AI, is going to start working on this video. It'll take a couple of minutes for it to create it, right? So what we do is a simple polling step where we're just polling and waiting to see when it's done, okay? We can't just sit there and wait. It will time out because a lot of the way these servers are set up is they'll have probably about 60 seconds and then they time out. So what you're going to do is add a polling step. So you add this wait module here. So I'm just going to go wait like this, wait like that. Put that in there. I've got it set to 60 seconds. Probably could be a little bit longer. But then what you do is you add another HTTP module and you just send another request saying, is it ready? That's all you're doing. And then Key AI will say yes or no. So the way we do that, back to SORA, back to the API page, you'll notice up here they've got a query task one. That's another one. So here, all we're doing is this time it's a get response, not a post. Grab that like this. And then we don't want to take the whole thing. We just want to take this part here like that, take that, and then go back, set up another HTTP module, set it to get, and then in here you put that URL that I just copied like that, right? Header auth, all that's the same. Down below though, you want to set send query parameters, turn that on, and then in the name you want to call it task ID with a capital I for ID. And then you want to map in the task ID. So where do you get the task ID from? Well, we get it from when we did our request here to get the video created, it instantly pinged back a task ID. So you drag that in there, drop it in there. That's it. That's all you need to do. Then when that step executes, they're going to reply to you and say either working on it, I can't remember the name, that the terminology, or success. It's done. The state is success. So once it's done, we then have our video back, and you can see down below here, they buried it in this horrible way down below to make it difficult to get. But anyway, it's down there. There's the MP4 file, and then you're all good. You're finished. So in order to get that, what we do is we set up another one of these switch modules here that we did at the beginning. And we're just saying the state is what we want to filter by. It's either success or generating. So if we get that state, and I pull it in there, that expression for state, then I put is equal to success, then that's my success route. If not, it's generating is the other one. Then I have two routes. So if it says generating, the generating route I pull and I go back around to my timer and just say, well, wait another 60 seconds and then ask again until we get a result that says success, and then we're done. Now, there might be a really obvious thing that I'm missing, but I just wanted a clean way to get that URL out of the way that they sent it back. I don't know, I'm probably doing this too fast and there's something a real dumb thing I'm missing. I don't really care, but the fact is I just wanted to get the MP4 video out really easily. So I just added a code node here to just extract it for me, and then it just got me the clean MP4 file out that I could use. So it was this one here. So you don't need to know about this. Just some JavaScript that I got Claude to write and said, can you just extract this out of this mess that they've given me? And it just extracted and gave me a clean URL. And then I just map it back to my Google Drive. So to map it back, you just add another Google Sheet like this, Google Sheet like this, and I think it's update sheet, update row. Instead of get row, now we're updating a row. Pretty simple. Same credentials, everything's the same. The only thing we need to do though is you need to make sure that your column to match on is row number, and then you need to drag in the row number. So you need to look at the original sheet that came through and it's row number. You need to drag that in like that, and then change the status, just put complete like that. And then you just want to upload the output that was in that code node here, there, the video URL, that clean one, just drop it in there in the output, and then you're done. And then if you click execute that, what's going to happen is it's going to send that file back there, and there's your first video. So that's how you do it. That's actually, this was the SORA path, not the VEO3. It will be that one, right? But you get the point. And then that's how you can do the SORA path. Now you can play around with this and do, improve that prompt, tweak different things in the sheet. You might come up with way better ways to do it. So let me know if you do. So that's how you do the SORA path. Now let's have a look at how to do the VEO3 path, because it's pretty similar. As you can see down here, it looks pretty much identical. But down here, we're just doing one extra step where we're going to use, still using key AI to do everything. So there's not a lot more to do here. It won't take long. But what we're going to do down here is a little bit different. We're going to add one of these LLM chains again. Same setup as we did with that one. And in here, we're going to map in some setting avatar product, same things again. That's pretty straightforward. And the system prompt, I just did a real basic one here. I think I was just testing this and did this quick. So, don't just copy that, play around with that, because I just test stuff all the time. So you can do way better than that, surely. So, but my point is, it doesn't matter because I'm teaching you to fish. Just giving you stuff, it doesn't really help people to progress when they're building these things. But play around with this, but I'm asking it to generate an image prompt for a model. So what's happening is I'm saying, I want you to create a prompt describing this image that I want created by this image generating model here, not video, but image. Okay, and this is Google's Nano Banana endpoint. I'll show you how to get it in a sec. If I open this up, I'm using key AIs again, post the task URL here. This is all the same as what we did on the SORA path, identical. All we're changing down below is the body, and we're getting just a different body query. And you can see here the model, it's Google Nano Banana edit, that one, okay? Then what we're sending in here is the prompt that we just created from my crappy prompt in the step before that you're going to do a lot better job than I did. And then the image URL that we're going to give it of the product. So it's got the product. So remember in this step, we're going to get Google Nano Banana's image generator to take our product, and then we're going to get it to create a person holding that product. And then it will generate that picture of the person holding it already, and we can control that by the prompt. Describe it. That's what the previous step was, which I just did really quickly. But you could get a very detailed prompt of a woman standing in the kitchen with something in the background, and she's wearing a hat or whatever you want, and then you can get a more precise video because you got a more precise image to start with as your seed starting point. So. And you get really cracking images using Google Nano Banana. That's why I prefer this at the moment. But it just gives you more control here. So all we're doing here is this image now will get generated. Okay, so once it's generated, we just do a wait step. So before I jump ahead, how do we get it generated? Well, let's go back here, and we go back to our providers here, and we're going to go this time to Google. Okay, and then we're going to get their image generating one, which is called Google Nano Banana down here, this one. Okay, open it up. Exactly the same thing again. Just go to the API, create task. Okay, scroll down to their example. Here we go. This is all we need down here. We did all this, and here's what you're grabbing to put in that body, like that, okay? Don't worry about the callback URL. Then we're just mapping in our prompt, and we're mapping in the size that we want. Then you can play around with what size that you want, depending on the type of content that you're creating. And then we send that over and it will create the image for us. So I just had to pause the video because I had one of those moments when you're creating a YouTube video and you realize that you're talking about the wrong thing. So sorry about that, but what I realized is I need to change it to Nano Banana Edit, not Nano Banana. Whoops. So at the top, there's two different model types. So go to the Edit one, then scroll down, and then down below, this is what you need. So I was looking at it and I had a blank going, where is the image? I need to put the images in. So this one is where you actually can map in the image of the product that we want the person to be holding, right? So we need to give them that image. We want a character holding this image. Okay, so that's where I can map in here the picture of the product that I want to map in. So obviously, if you're doing user-generated content for people or for yourself, you'll have pictures of your own product, and that's what we would have put at the beginning in our Google Sheet here, the URLs of the product. So you have to have pictures of your product to start with. I mean, you could get the AIs to create enhanced pictures of your product, but either way, you need to have your product shots already on the sheet, and then we pull it through. So that's what this is. So copy that, now go back, and here, if you look down below, you'll see, I can't map it because I haven't pulled everything through here, but you'll get the point here, is there's the image. So this is where I'd map from my sheet back here, that image of the product. So I drag that in like that and map it in there. And the prompt would come from, which I haven't run yet, but the prompt would come from that prompt that we just did before. And then you just run it and you're going to get an image. So the same thing, add a wait step. It doesn't have to take very long, probably just beyond 10 seconds is enough to create it, maybe 15, 20. Add your timer step in, and then you're just going to query again the same way we did before. Get, query, and then the parameter ID. I actually set this one up differently. Normally, I actually did it with the query IDs down here. Probably better to do it down here in case something breaks. Sometimes I had an error when I was doing it a few times, but you can see up here, I've just put the query ID up here already like this, but you can just put the query down here like task ID and then the query ID down in this field and dynamically map it, and then this module will build that final URL for you. Or you can actually just put it, bake it all into the full URL up the top. Either way is fine. Don't get confused by that. All I'm saying is it's exactly what we did here. That's all you need to know. Okay, identical. Just make sure that you're on the right model here. When you're on Nano Banana here, you need to go to the query task here, and then it's the same thing here. So you're just querying it and getting the task. And then you're getting, it's this, right? Same thing, exactly the same thing. And then wait for the response, set up your switch module. I added a code node here, probably because it gave me back in a mess like KI tends to do. You can just copy that, it's no big deal. It's probably a better way to do it. It doesn't matter, it works. And then over here, now, in this step here, I have an image of a person holding my product that I described perfectly by using Google's image generator. So then this part here just becomes exactly like the top path, pretty much. The only difference here is I haven't actually put the polling in because I was being a little bit lazy. So here, you notice that route going back, I was just lazy and I didn't put it back in. But because you know how to do it from the top one, you can just set up the second route. I just did the success route, but you could just set up your second route, which is the same as the one above, whatever that one was up here, generating, I think it was, whack in generating. And if it's not generated, make sure that you hook it back around. And then you can see, look, they look like a mirror image, right? This is all this is here. And I didn't need to put the code node in there because maybe it came back cleaner response. I can't remember. But anyway, it's identical, okay? Because we're using Key AI. All we're doing is using a different video generation model here. So all we're doing up here, all this is the same. All we're doing down here is a different model, okay? So this one I actually must have been playing around and I actually copied and pasted the prompt in here, but you dynamically map in the prompt that you want the video generator to create, okay? So here you can see I'm using the model. The model that we're using is the Google's generation model, okay? So you can see down here it says model VEO3 fast. So how do we get that? Go here, Google, get rid of OpenAI, go Google VEO3 fast, which is this one. Oh, VEO3 3.1. I haven't actually played around with that yet. Can't remember if I used 3.1 or 3. You can play around. It doesn't matter. The point is, again, as I've said a few times in this video, I'm teaching you how to fish, so you can just play around with these things and do whatever you want to do. But the point is here, you want to actually choose the different models here. So we're using like reference to video here. So there's different ways to do it. You can go text to video. All these are, if you get confused by all this, is you can either just give text and get the model to create the video, or you can give it an image and then get it to create a video, or you can give it both to create a video, which is with reference to video here, you're uploading different pictures. You know, this one here, you can see they explain, it's pretty obvious. The lady wearing these clothes in this setting and with a prompt, right? So there's different ways to get videos created with these tools. It can get really confusing, but it really shouldn't be. And the reason it gets so confusing is because each of these video generation model has slightly different rules. So here, for example, this one's fast, this one's quality. So you've got different combinations of how to create the video and then the quality of the video itself. And the reason the quality here is, why would you not do this one? Well, the cost. You might not need a real super high quality. You're fine with this one. It's cheaper and quicker. So this is perfectly fine for what we're doing here. So this is all this is, by the way. And then all you do is when you've chosen what you want, just go to the API documents page, and then they'll tell you exactly how to do it. They'll tell you everything that you need to set it up, which we've done a few times in this video. So it should be pretty straightforward. Out the side here is this curl, CURL. This is what we're doing. Remember, it looks the same as the one we did before. That's the body. Slightly different layout for Google, but it's the same principle, right? This post request, URL, header, grab everything in here, and then you just map in the fields. So when we map it in, the prompt is the text part, is the text part that we map in to describe the video. The images is the URLs that we're using to create the video, which in this case was the image we just created the step before from the Nano Banana. So we just map in the image that Google just created previously, and then we choose the model, get rid of callback, you make sure you got the right aspect ratio, and then that's all you need to do. So here I didn't dynamically map it in because I was obviously playing around, testing stuff, and I was just quickly swapping stuff out. But don't do that. Obviously you would map in the prompt that you want from the previous step. So make sure you're mapping in your prompt. Now on this note, by the way, you could get more complex with this, and you could have like generating prompts on the fly, and you could spin 3 or 4 different ones and have it in a looping pattern and get 3 or 4 versions of your video with slightly different prompts. So this is kind of a basic setup, but now that you know how to put it all together, it's like a Lego set. You give a kid, not that you guys are kids, but Lego set, and once they start building stuff, they'll go and build all sorts of stuff. And that's what you can do here. You can take these principles and just add to it, tweak it, change it. Once you've got the video created, then it goes back to the same polling thing. Check if it's ready. Same thing. This is a GET request, like always. Task ID and the parameters identical. Then you do a switch node. Is it ready? Yes or no. When it's ready, it will say success. And then you can just map it straight into your Google Sheet, which is exactly what we did at the step before. Matching on row number, change status to complete, and then in the output field is your video. So then that'll go back to Google Sheet, and then you'll have your videos, depending on what route they went down to use what model. So that's the end of this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, let me know in the comments below how you're going with it all. Hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed. That really helps my channel. I'd appreciate it. And let me know what sort of videos you want me to create in the future. And I'll see you in the next video.